Hello guys, welcome. Today we are going to understand fire protection system. This is for your module 11. Generally it is asking module 11, but the questions are also seen in module 13 and some few questions are also seen in your module 15. It is also seen in your gas turbine engine. But generally this is part of an airframe, so we are doing it for the airframe. Okay. So the fire protection system, basically what happens is you see that inside an aeroplane, suppose there is a fire. How are we going to contain that fire? Because fire can be very dangerous. It can lead to the death of many people, right? We have seen many accidents which have happened on the aircraft. So fire is very, very risky. Okay. So here you can see that फायर देखो क्या करता है बेटा पूरा का पूरा एरोप्लेन को क्या है जला सकता है it can completely burn the people inside the aircraft. So here what happened is luckily the aeroplane this is not actually an aeroplane, this is a walk-up, but suppose you are on the ground you can easily you will have the people who are fighting against the fire. But what will happen if you are in the flight? When you are in a flight, there is no such people who can go out and then extinguish the fire, right? So you require a fire extinguisher which is installed in the aircraft. So there are two types of fire extinguishers. One which are permanently fixed. This position is definite that there should be located at this place only in the on the aeroplane. Whereas there are few which are carried in the hand. Okay, portable, which we can carry. Okay, when we understand that fire protection from the aviation point of view, fire protection does not mean just protecting you yourself from the fire. Fire protection consists of two parts. First one is detection, and after detecting it, you have to also extinguish it. Okay, detection and extinguishing. That means what you will first detect where the fire is been switched on, and then you will try to extinguish that fire. That is what is the fire protection. So what manufacturer will do is when he is making an airplane, let us say that it's a Boeing aircraft, okay, or we can say let's say it's an Airbus. So the manufacturer are the people who know that what are the location where there is a possibility of the fire. For example, cargo bay, there may be a possibility of a fire over there. Okay, engines. Generally, the fire on the aircraft generally takes place at the engine because that is the only place where you have a flame running. You are putting in the fuel. So all the ingredients which are required for the fire, you already know that there are three ingredients which are required for the fire, right? The first one is there should be a fuel, there should be the oxygen, and ignition source. Okay? If you have this thing, definitely there would be a fire, right? So that's why we say that if you have to extinguish the fire, you remove one out of this. ये तीनों में से अगर आप किसी एक को एलिमिनेट कर देते तो फायर विल बी स्टॉप. We'll do that protection class, extinguishing class in the later class. Okay, today we will more concentrate on the detection. Okay, not detection exactly, we are going to concentrate on requirement of detection system. Okay, fire detection system requirement, which means what, when you are when you are making an aeroplane, okay, the manufacturer, when he is making the aeroplane, he will consider some of the requirement in his mind, and according to that only, what he will do is he will design the aeroplane. Okay, for example, you have installed a detector on the aircraft. Okay, this detector should under no circumstance give me a false warning. Understanding it? This what बेटा कि आपने जो एरोप्लेन के अंदर फायर डिटेक्शन सिस्टम लगाया है, if it is giving me false warning, it is of no use. क्यों no use का है बेटा? Suppose an aeroplane was flying, okay, and we are taken off from the aerodrome, okay, airport से आपने take off किया, you have flown some distance, and automatically the pilot gets an indication that his left engine is on fire, which actually is not on fire, but he's getting a false warning that the left engine is on fire. What the pilot will do? He will have to save the aeroplane, right? So what is the meaning of saving the aeroplane? He has to switch off the fire. So to switch the fire off, what he has to do is he has to shut down the engine. Shut down नहीं करेगा बेटा तो फ्यूल तो कंटिन्यूसली जाता रहेगा ना. So he has to shut down the engine and then he has to use the fire extinguisher. Once you use the fire extinguisher on an engine, you cannot start that aeroplane. Okay, फिर से वो इंजन वापस से स्टार्ट होगा ही नहीं. मतलब क्या हो जाएगा बेटा? There were two engines which were running healthy, but pilot got a false warning that his left engine is on the fire. Pilot used all the fire extinguisher on the left engine. He thought that he is extinguishing the fire, but what you are actually doing is you are switching off the engine which was properly running. So at any case, कुछ भी हो जाए बेटा, there should be no false warning. Understood? Secondly, rapid indication of the fire. Rapid indication of the fire. What does this point mean? That suppose my airplane is here. Okay, let us say this is our wing. And there are two engines on this aircraft. Suppose this engine, it catches fire. Okay, and the pilot who is sitting in the cockpit, he gets the indication of the fire, but he will get it late. Okay? Suppose the system is not rapid response, so he will get it late. What will happen by that time? This fire will spread to the wing and will enter the fuselage, killing everyone. Once it enters the wing, it's finished. No one can survive this act. Understood this? So, as soon as there is a fire, not only in the engine, I've taken an example of an engine, but at any position. Let us say there is a fire in the cargo compartment. If there is a fire in the cargo compartment, as soon as there is a fire, you should get the indication as soon as possible so that you can take a remedial action. Otherwise, what will happen is the pilot will get a late reading, and according to that, he will take the action. Okay. Then, third point. This is very important point. Accurate location of the fire. Accurate location of fire. Which means what? That suppose the aeroplane is here. Let us say its left engine is on the fire. Okay, but the pilot के पास indication आता है कि इसका right engine is on the fire. Getting what I'm trying to say? That the aeroplane is there, left engine was on the fire, but by some mistake, it did not accurately locate the position of the fire. It gave him the indication that the right engine is on the fire. What the pilot will do? He will put all the fire extinguisher on the right engine. Because of which, what will happen is the right engine which was serviceable, वो आपने बंद कर दिया और ये तो ऐसे ही जल रहा है. Means the pilot will have very less probability of surviving this crash. Understanding it? So you should get an accurate location of the fire. कि आग लगा है, आपको तुरंत पता चल जाना चाहिए कि बाबा यही एरिया में आग लगा हुआ है, so that you can take a remedial action. Understood, beta? You should also get an accurate indication that the fire is out. Fire is out, which means that if a fire is being extinguished, you should be given the indication in the cockpit that the fire is gone. How do we accompany this? Let us say that when you are flying an aeroplane, if there was a fire, एक light शुरू हो जाता है बेटा, light start blinking, fire करके उसको दिखाई देता है pilot को. So what he will do is he will take a remedial action. He will put the fire extinguisher. Let us take this aircraft only. The left engine is on the fire. The pilot gives an indication that the left engine is on the fire. He will put the fire extinguisher on the engine. Okay. Fire is being eliminated or extinguished, the pilot should know that the fire is being extinguished. Otherwise, what will happen is there would be a panic spread in the cockpit. Right? So that can lead to the further complications. Pilot or panic हो जाएगा और कुछ drastic action लेगा. Okay, there are two fire extinguishers. Okay, one for the left engine, one for the right engine. Okay, suppose he has used the fire extinguisher which was there for the left engine. Left engine का fire extinguisher उसने use कर लिया to extinguish the fire. But still he's getting the indication that the fire is not gone. So what he will do is he will cross field. He will take this fire extinguisher for the right engine and he will put it on that. This can lead to the further complication. अगर few आगे जाके aeroplane में right engine में कुछ हो गया, we will not have the fire extinguisher, right? Understood? So you should get the accurate indication of the fire as fire is out. Sorry, as well as indication in case of reignition. Case of reignition. What does this mean? Suppose there is a fire. There was a fire. Let us talk about the same airplane. Again, the pilot was flying an aircraft. His left engine was on the fire. What he will do is he will use the fire extinguisher to extinguish the fire. Okay. Everyone is happy. The fire is out. But what if the fire really is out? So the indicator, so the detector that you are installing should be of such a type कि एक फायर में खुद जलकर राख ना हो जाए बेटा. If खुद ही डैमेज हो रहा है, so that वो नेक्स्ट फायर में कैसे डिटेक्ट करेगा? नहीं कर सकता ना. एरोप्लेन इज फ्लाइंग इन दी एयर, एयर सामने से आ रहा है, आपने वो देखा रहेगा ना कि इफ द फायर इंजन एक्सटिंग्विश, तो हम लोग क्या करते हैं, फूकते हैं उसके अंदर, तो कभी कभी आग जल्दी से भड़क जाता है, राइट? तो सेम थिंग कैन हैपन नो, एयर इज कमिंग फ्रॉम द फ्रंट, फ्यूल तो होता ही है इंजन के अंदर, वापस से चांस है कुछ ना कुछ और जल गया, right? So if something happen and there is a reignition on this engine, I should know that there is a reignition on my engine. Okay, so that should also be located. Here है indication as long as fire is on. What does this point mean? This point means that suppose there was a fire, okay? Fire लगते ही आपको एक light दिखाई देना चाहिए, okay? But that does not mean कि बस लगकर बुझ जाए. What will happen? Pilot का ध्यान अगर कहीं पे और होगा, because he has to fly the aircraft, maybe he is looking at some other gauge. गेज के ऊपर दिख रहा था, अचानक से आवाज आया, जब तक वो अपना पेज चेंज कर रहा है टू बी सी द एनाउंशिएटर पैनल की व्हाट इज द इंडिकेशन, तब तक वो लाइट गायब होगा. तो क्या होगा बेटा? पायलट को समझेगा ही नहीं ना क्या चल रहा है आपके एरोप्लेन के ऊपर. सो व्हाट डू वी डू? वी एंश्योर दैट एज लॉन्ग एज द फायर इज प्रेजेंट, 2 मिनट 3 मिनट 4 मिनट जितना टाइम तक फायर चालू है उतना टाइम तक कंटिन्यूअसली अपने बीप 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 करता रहेगा और लाइट दिखाता रहेगा, फायर 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 फायर. दैट एंश्योर दैट पायलट का ध्यान सिर्फ और सिर्फ उस फायर के ऊपर हो, कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड हो, ताकि फायर ऑन है भाई बुझा दो. वंस ही एक्सटिंग्विशेस द फायर शुड गो आउट. अंडरस्टूड? Okay, now we have got the system installed, right? We need to also test it on the ground, right? So there should be means for electrically testing the system on ground. मतलब क्या है बेटा कि हमारे एरोप्लेन के अंदर लेटर से कि सब कुछ लगा दिया मैंने, फायर एक्सटिंग्विशर, डिटेक्टर, बेस्ट क्वालिटी का उठाया, पूरा वायरिंग बेस्ट उठाया, सब कुछ बेस्ट उठाया, ओके? लेकिन आपको पता ही नहीं कि सिस्टम काम कर रहा है, तो क्या यूज का होगा बेटा, राइट? So you must have seen that there is a pre-flight inspection, right? In the pre-flight inspection, what the pilot will do, he will see कि उसके सारे लाइट काम कर रहे हैं. So he also tests whether his fire extinguisher system is working or not. So there should be a mean of electrically testing the system on ground. Okay, pilot cockpit से सिर्फ एक बटन दबाकर इसको चेक कर सके. हम लोग उसको बाइट बोलते हैं, built-in test equipment. Understood here? So this should also be there, that you should be able to test it electrically on the ground. मतलब cockpit से आप आराम से देख सको. Okay, then the detector that you are going to use, detector should be resistant to exposure to oil, fuel, grease, and maintenance practices. What does this point mean? This means that आपका जो detector है, let us say कि ये landing gear, okay? So we have a landing gear and here also we have a landing gear, okay? तो हमारे पास क्या है बेटा, दो लैंडिंग गियर इंस्टॉल है हमारे एयरक्राफ्ट के ऊपर. क्या है बेटा? सपोज द डिटेक्टर इज हियर टू डिटेक्ट वेदर द लैंडिंग गियर इज ऑन द फायर. ओके, तो आप जब मेंटेनेंस वगैरह करोगे बेटा, यहाँ पे ऑयल होगा, ग्रीस होगा, एनीथिंग कैन कम इन कांटेक्ट. सो इफ ऑयल इज कमिंग इन कांटेक्ट एंड द डिटेक्टर विल स्टॉप वर्किंग, तो ऐसे डिटेक्टर का कोई मतलब ही नहीं है ना बेटा. एरोप्लेन में ऑयल ग्रीस कहीं ना कहीं लगता ही होता है, राइट? So your detector जो भी आप इंस्टॉल करोगे, it should be resistant to all this. Faulty maintenance practices is what? That suppose आप क्या है बेटा, landing gear का wheel change करने आ रहा है. Okay, so when you must have seen that when we are working on the wheel, when we sit down below the aircraft, or when we are trying to remove the landing gear या फिर tire remove कर रहे हो, so what will happen is we take support by catching places here and there. तो हो सकता है कि accidentally आप क्या करो बेटा, detector को पकड़ लो. Okay, so if you are catching the detector, it may damage the detector, right? तो डिटेक्टर इतना हल्का भी नहीं होना चाहिए कि बाय जस्ट बाय स्मॉल थोड़ा सा यहाँ वहाँ कुछ हो गया तो तुरंत टूट जाए. Okay, so your detector should be resistant to all this thing. Clear है बेटा? Anyone with a doubt? Okay, so let us go ahead. The detector that we are installing should be light in weight. I don't need to explain this point to you. You have already explained such a higher standard. इतना आप आगे आ चुके हो, थर्ड फोर्थ सेमेस्टर में आ चुके हो, आपको पता है कि वेट एरोप्लेन में क्या होना चाहिए बेटा, एज स्मॉल एज पॉसिबल. जितना आप वजन कम करोगे एरोप्लेन का उतना आपके लिए क्या है बेटा, बेनिफिशियल है. सो कीप द डिटेक्टर which is as light as possible. And the next point, which is most important, supply through hot bus bar. Hot bus bar. That is without inverter. What does this point mean? This point is very simple. What it says that when you are installing the fire detection system, no, this system should be supplied through the hot bus bar. What is hot bus bar? The bus bar which is directly connected to the aircraft battery supply, and nothing comes in between. No switch, no inverter, nothing in between. Directly the supply is given from the battery to the fire detection system. Means जैसे ही pilot cockpit में बैठता है और battery switch on करता है, all the system is switched on. Understood? Anyone with a doubt? बहुत ही सिंपल सी चीज है बेटा. आपको क्या है, इन्वर्टर वगैरह नहीं लगाना है. आपको क्या करना है बेटा, सिंपली एक हॉट बस बार से कनेक्ट कर दो विदाउट एनी इन्वर्टर इन दिस, एंड दैट्स इट. Next point, which is a nonsense because we have already done it. Okay, each engine should have its own detector, its own detection system. What does this point mean? This point simply means that key whatever detection system we have installed on the aircraft, okay, that should have a separate for each engine. That means there are two engines on the aircraft, there should be two detection system for each engine. Four engines on the aircraft, there should be four detectors on four engines. Okay, completely independent, so that you don't get a cross connection. Otherwise what will happen is the same point जो हम लोगों ने पहले सीखा, लेफ्ट इंजन में आग लग रहा है, आप राइट इंजन बुझा दो, तो कोई मतलब नहीं है ना बेटा. To ensure this, what you should do is you should have a detector, each detector for each aircraft. Okay, हर एक detector independent for each aircraft. And when it is not detecting the fire, when not detecting the fire, electrical energy consumption should be minimum. What does this point mean? That suppose you have installed the fire detector system on both the aircraft, left engine and the right engine. Aeroplane was flying. There is no fire. आग नहीं लगा, कुछ नहीं लगा बेटा, तो आपको जरूरत ही नहीं है ना. Okay, if you don't have the requirement, so your electricity energy consumed should be minimum होगा तो आपके लिए advantage है. Okay, so when you are deciding ki what type of a detector should be installed on your aircraft, these are the 12 points that you should consider, but these are not limited to this 12. You can also consider a few other points also, whatever you think is necessary for the particular type of an aircraft. जैसे landing gear में जाएगा, वहां पे rigid support चाहिए तो उसके accordingly. Okay, जैसे कि you can simply say that you should be easy to mount in any position. सीधा, left, right, टेढ़ा मेढ़ा कैसे भी बिठा सकते हो. Because see, when you are installing a detector on the aircraft, it is not necessary कि वो यहीं पर लगेगा ना. हो सकता है कि वो ऐसा लगे, हो सकता है कि वो बाहर की तरफ लगे, हो सकता है कि वो क्रॉस लगे, right? So it can be installed in any particular position. So if your position is changing better, so the detector that you are using should be in such a way that you can change the position and it will still fit and work properly. That is what is the main thing. Okay, there are a few other points also that you can take into consideration. So let us just go through this point. When you are deciding that your fire detection system has to be installed in the aircraft, these are the few points that you should take. There should be no false warning. Otherwise what will happen is you will inadvertently switch off your you will switch off your engine. Okay, whenever there is a fire, that should be rapidly indicated.
and as long as the fire is on, it should be indicated in the cockpit. As soon as the fire is off, it should again be indicated that the fire is off, so that the pilot comes to know that my fire is finished. Okay, and in case of the re-ignition, should again be indicated that by fire वापस लग गया, वापस से बुझाने की कोशिश करेंगे. Okay, these are the cases. Then oil का exposure होना चाहिए, grease का exposure होना चाहिए, इससे problem ना हो. As light as possible you should make, and you should always supply it to the hot bus bar. That is a very important part, important point, because when you supply the aircraft with directly with the hot bus bar, what you ensure is that आपका aeroplane जो है वो safe रहे. Clear है बेटा? Any doubts? Okay, so let us do the last part, detection systems. Okay, we are going to study different type of detection system, or you can say detectors. Okay, you can have a overheat detectors. इसका काम क्या होगा बेटा? जैसे ही temperature rise हो गया, okay, it will indicate in the cockpit, बाबा ये temperature cross हो गया, that means there is a fire. Okay, smoke detector, everyone knows about them. Yeah, you must have seen it in the building. Whenever there is a smoke, whenever there is a fire, fire is always accompanied by the smoke. Fire होता है तो आग लग धुआं आता ही है बेटा, right? Without smoke there is no fire, so that smoke can be used for detecting the fire. Okay, then there is a rate of temperature rise. These are the most important one that we have to study. We'll study them in detail in next class. Rate of temperature rise detector. This type of detector, what they do is, no, they will see कि आपका कितना टेम्परेचर बढ़ा बेटा, उसके अकॉर्डिंगली ये आपको बताते हैं कि फायर हुआ. मतलब you will have a reference temperature and a this temperature, so that both the temperature should rise simultaneously. If one is rising instantaneously, that will give the indication that there is a fire. Okay, then radiation sensing. If there is a fire, there would be radiations, right? If you can detect those radiation, there is, you can detect the fire, or you can detect the carbon monoxide detectors. What they do is they will find out if there is a carbon monoxide present or no. Because if there is a fire, there will be a carbon monoxide, and based on that carbon monoxide, they will decide that there is fire present. And the most important one, okay, is the observation by crew and पैसेंजर्स. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. नो, सपोज यू आर फ्लाइंग इन एन एरोप्लेन, आप एक सीट पे बैठे हुए हो और आपको दिखाई दे रहा है कि बाबा देयर इज सम फायर. ओके, दैट मींस यू आर सिटिंग ऑन, लेट अस से यू आर सिटिंग इन एन आइल सीट, और आपको दिख रहा है कि लास्ट जो सीट है आपका वो फायर के ऊपर है. तो इट इज योर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी टू टेल द क्रू मेंबर दैट देयर इज अ फायर. Okay, what the crew will do, he will have a handle fire extinguisher, he will take that out and he will try to extinguish the fire, and the plane should land as soon as possible. Another thing that we should know in this is, whenever there is a fire, there is a requirement by the FAA that we should land the aircraft to the nearest runway as possible. जो भी नजदीक वाला एयरपोर्ट होगा बेटा वहां पर लैंड करो. And the second important thing is, whenever there is a fire problem, you should be able to evacuate your aircraft within 90 seconds by using only the half number of emergency doors that are on the aeroplane. For example, there are 6 doors on the aeroplane. Okay, so what the FAA standard says, if there are 6 doors on your aeroplane, you should be able to remove all the passenger along with the pilots, crew, everyone within 90 seconds only through the 3 doors. Why this half door requirement? Because if there is an emergency, it is not necessary. The fire will go and catch only in the engine. It can catch inside the cockpit also. If it is inside the cockpit, it may block 3 to 4 doors. So if it is blocking some number of door, you should be able to remove the passengers within that 90 seconds. बहुत ही important point है बेटा. Within 90 seconds, अगर कोई airlines show नहीं कर सकता है कि we can remove the passenger, the FAA will not certify that aircraft. Okay, and DGCA, we follow the FAA standard. अगर FAA कोई aircraft को sign नहीं कराता है तो DGCA will also not authorize that aircraft to fly in the India. Am I clear? So that's it. From the next topic onward, we are going to study the fire detectors in detail. We are going to study different types of fire detector, namely 3: Fernwell spot detector, a continuous loop detector, and thermocouple fire detectors. So we are going to stress on this 3 things because these are DGC, many DGC questions are asked from this, and we'll try to cover as much as possible. Okay. That's it, dear. See you next time. Bye.